Thank you very much. Thank you. I am delighted to be here and to see so many of all our friends. And I want to express my appreciation to Nancy Lindborg and to congratulate Tony Barkley and Liz Schreier and everyone connected with the Center for putting together this kickoff event. Delighted to see my good friend General McCaffrey and Governor Ridge, with whom I have done many things in the past, and very glad to be involved in this together. I've often been in places where foreign policy experts gather, people who've served as ambassadors or in senior positions at the CIA or have been President's National Security Advisor or Secretary of Defense. Sometimes, such as today, they're all the same person. Frank Carlucci knows more about everything than most people know about anything, and he has never been afraid to tell it like it is, as we just heard. I'm delighted to join with him as co-chair of the Center's Impact 08 initiative. Between now and next November, we intend to make some righteous noise so that when the new president steps to the podium for the inaugural address, the only slogan that will come to mind is "Smart Power, Building a Better, Safer World." Our coalition is a broad one, encompassing business, NGOs, the development community, academics, and an impressive number of our former senior colleagues in government from both parties. We raise our voices now not only because it is election season, but also because it is a time of testing for our country. The next president will have the task of restoring America's leadership and credibility. And that challenge begins with the understanding that there is evil in the world that cannot be appeased. It must be opposed and defeated. At times, force will be the best or even the only option, and not always as a last resort. Our leaders must be willing to do what is necessary to protect our citizens' territory and friends. Force, however, as Secretary Carlucci has said, is a blunt instrument, and there are many problems it cannot solve. It is most effective when integrated with other foreign policy tools, including diplomacy and sanctions, trade and aid. And that's why Impact 08 is seeking support from the presidential candidates to strengthen these and other instruments of American power, because we can't lead the world through military might alone. The next president must also reaffirm America's core message, which is that the management of international affairs has long since ceased to be a zero-sum game. When I was Secretary of State, I saw America's purpose as trying to bring nations together around basic goals of democracy and free enterprise, a commitment to peace, and the rule of law. I thought, and I still think, that these are the right goals, not only for the U.S., but for nations rich and poor, big and small. With these objectives in mind, it is possible to be both pro-Israeli and pro-Palestinian, pro-Hindu and pro-Muslim, pro-North and pro-South. Such goals speak not to the triumph of one group over another, but rather to universal aspirations of survival, security, and freedom. These are the goals that America should champion for the world. This is right, but it is also smart. Because if we want the world to care about the dangers that threaten us, we must join in fighting the dangers that threaten them. America should also remain a champion of political freedom. I know that there's some who look at the electoral gains made recently by Islamists in such places as Iraq, Egypt, and the Palestinian Authority, and conclude that democracy is less likely to extinguish terror, as President Bush claims, than to ignite it. I fear as a result that a new conventional wisdom will emerge that promoting democracy is a mistake. It is not. We should remember that the alternative is embracing governments that lack the blessing of their own people. America cannot rescue its reputation by throwing its ideals over the side, and at the same time, we should keep our expectations in check. Just because the denial of freedom is bad doesn't mean the exercise of freedom will always be to our liking. Democracy is a form of government, not a ticket to some heavenly kingdom where extremism is vanquished and everyone agrees with us. If Arab democracy develops, it will be to advance Arab aspirations based on Arab perceptions of history and justice. Democracy should, however, create a broader and more political debate within Arab countries, exposing myths to scrutiny and dangerous ideas to rebuttal. Though some may fear such an opening, Americans should welcome it, for if we fail to value free expression, we forget our own history.